Welcome to All Things Possible TV. I'm Kris Barney, and I just am thrilled to have you with me today for this episode. Today's episode is a game changer. And the game changer we're going to talk about is genuine gratitude. And I want to share with you several tips, several things on how you can change your life through gratitude. Gratitude is so important. And I know that you are grateful. We just went through holidays around here at our house. I'm sure you did. And gratitude was part of it. And I love gratitude. Gratitude has always been very important to me. But sometimes we forget to have gratitude. And we forget to make that a focus. So I want to talk about some tips that can help you to increase your gratitude, which will increase your abundance, and it will open your heart for love and joy. And you will feel more freedom when you have gratitude, and it's genuine. We're going to talk about generic gratitude versus genuine gratitude, and they are different. There are two different types of gratitude, and I characterize those in those two categories because I feel like it's that important. So let's get started. One of the things that I want for you today to take from this, and I have several little quotes on my little cheat sheet. I want to read these and be specific because gratitude, you can have everybody tell you, oh, be grateful, or I'm grateful. In fact, I had somebody recently on social media tell me that I use the word grateful too much. Probably true. Find some other words, but I don't think you can ever have too much gratitude and be too grateful in your life. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is tell you when I looked up gratitude, what I found. I found that there were two different parts to gratitude. And those are, and I want to read them to you. Under the definition of gratitude, there were two parts. The first part is that it is an acknowledgement that the world holds gifts and benefits for you. So that's the first part. The second part was a realization the source of the goodness is being outside of ourselves. We have a dependency on others and on a higher power. Now, for many of you, we've talked a lot about different things similar to this. And as we're going through this series, there are 6 traits. So we're just on the second one. This is our series, and there is 6 different traits we're going to be teaching. Gratitude is so important. It's what we can see outside of ourselves, and it does show us a dependency on others and a higher power. So whatever that is for you, if that's a God, if that's a universe, if that's, the power that goes out, comes back, whatever that is for you, that's great. But know that in the definition right there, it said that that was part of what gratitude is. For me, I have found 3 different ways to almost immediately change my level of gratitude. There are 3 different things that I feel like you can do on a daily basis or a weekly basis that will almost instantly change your life and add abundance. The first one is a gratitude journal. I've had a gratitude journal now for several years. I lived a lot of years without one. And I can tell you life is totally different having a gratitude journal. I had been grateful for a lot of things. I had a lot of gratitude in my life, but it wasn't until I started writing 5 things I was grateful for, at least 5 times a week, that really changed and became a game changer for me. because it's hard to write 5 different things every day for a year. And I did that. It changed instantly because you start looking for what you're grateful for. You start looking at what am I valuing? Where could I find one of the things to list today because I need to write it down. So, gratitude journal is fantastic. And it can be a little notebook. It doesn't have to be a grandiose plan, a big extensive book, although I have a lot of fun decorating my gratitude journal and making it a powerful book for me. I have quotes, several that I'll read today, in my journal, in where I'm writing all the time, uplifting things. I have my own affirmations, my declaration, and the things that are important to who I am and what I'm about, right there with my gratitude journal. It goes with me all the time. I take it on vacation. I take it with me so that when I have time, I write in it. It's about as big as this paper, not quite that big, but a typical 5x7 or 7x9, and it fits in most of my purses. So it can be with me so that if I'm waiting to pick up a child or I'm waiting for something to start, I've even pulled it out at the movies. Sounds boring, but I've pulled it out at the movies and been grateful to have a really nice show house where I get to go and have food in my chair besides popcorn. I love popcorn. That's why I go to the movies. But aside from that, we have those opportunities. I have a fantastic theater that has restaurants outside of it. So when you go in, you can have dinner and a movie right there. So one day, that's what I wrote in my gratitude journal. So when you're trying to find different ones all throughout the year and not do the same one twice, it really starts you thinking and looking for what you're grateful for. When we acknowledge and focus on those things, more of them unfold for us. We find them more often. We find the reasons we are grateful in those. And because we're talking about our focus, what I want to read to you is, well, first, gratitude is the ultimate magnifier. When you have gratitude for something, it magnifies and comes back to you. So a couple of things. This quote I don't have a name on. It's one of the things that I teach. I have it in different workshops and stuff that I do. But what we focus on is what we receive. And it's magnified. So what are you focusing on? What is it that you focus on every day? What is it that you're focusing on when you first get up? Are you focusing on being tired or what a great day it's going to be? Where's your focus? What I want to tell you is focus on what you have, not on what you don't have. If we're always focusing on, oh, I have to have that boat or I have to have a bigger house, do we enjoy the one we have? No, we don't. In fact, recently we sold our houseboat and got a cabin cruiser. I loved the houseboat and I focused on the houseboat constantly. And when we got the cabin cruiser, I was sad we lost the houseboat. Once I started to focus on how many trips I got to take this last summer, how much time one-on-one I got to spend with my husband, how much fun we were having, how much more rest I was getting while I was on vacation, then my focus changed and I was focusing on what I did have. Now, you don't have to focus on boats. That's not the thing here. But the example is they were both a boat. If you focus on what you do have, you will receive more when you're grateful for it. So focus on what is working. I teach a 7-step process. And one of the things that we find is what's working in our life and what's not working. And 90% of the people who start this class with me, start this program, can write you a list of at least 20 things that are not working. And I ask them to write a list of what is working, 3 or 4, that's it. These are people that have a job, have their own business, have a family, they're a mother, they're a father, there's a lot working. In fact, in a study, 80% of our lives are working And there's only 20% in our life that needs a little bit of work. But we focus on the 20% and forget to see the 80%. And then we feel overwhelmed and frustrated and angry. So, add gratitude. It will change that. You'll be able to focus on the things that are working and be grateful that they're working. The third one on there is focus on being grateful, not being ungrateful. When people aren't grateful for what you do for them, does it make you want to go do more? If you have a boss at work and they do not even notice what you do, let alone be grateful for it, do you want to go do it again the next day? No. But if your boss were to walk over and be like, oh, you did such a good job, or I loved how you entered the data in the computer and it was so easy for me to find, and hey, you got those quarterlies turned in on time, yeah, then you want to come back to work and do it again. So focus on what's working. Focus on being grateful for what they are doing. Focus on how you can serve others, not how others can serve you. That is a big one. We just went through Christmas. It's a new year, right? But are we focusing on what everybody gave us? What they could give us? What might be coming? Where's your focus? Maybe did you focus on what you could give others? What you could do for others? We had a big project, the Road Home Project, and we gathered enough supplies to be 8 different loads in vehicles, trucks, to donate to the homeless here in Salt Lake. It was fantastic. It was a way that I could focus on the good. In fact, it was funny because I didn't even go shopping for my own children until the last week, because there had been such a focus on a Sub for Santa project and this Road Home project that I didn't even think about, oh, I guess I better be ready for our own Christmas. When we focus on what's important, what's really important, and what difference we can make, how we can serve, and how we can be grateful, our lives are abundant. Our lives are happy. So the first one, gratitude journal. Second one, get out in nature. Nature is one of the best ways to begin to add to your gratitude. When we go camping or on a hike or go soak your feet in the stream or have a snowball fight, that is when we laugh, we have the fresh air, we have beauty all around, and yet we take it for granted. Last year in my canyon where I live, we had a fire. Guess how much more beautiful it was before the fire? When you don't have gratitude for what you have, pretty soon it's gone. And then you're like, but those 2 mountains that burned down look really boring. Like, there's no greenery, there's no trees. Even sagebrush, that is not my favorite. And I say that very nicely because sagebrush is not my favorite. Looked pretty when you've had a fire come through. So be grateful for what you have and you'll have more. But get out in nature. Spend some time with fresh air, a brisk walk, and feeling grateful for what you see. Look at that blue sky. Look at those clouds and be grateful for the rain when it comes. Because there might be a day when you are in a drought and you need the rain. Or you've got a garden and you need rain or a hayfield. Or maybe you just don't want the heat. I've got a son that lives in Phoenix. He'd give anything in the middle of their summer spell to have some rain and have a nice storm. It's usually so hot that when the storm comes through, it's ugly. He was here for Christmas and we had, of course, a lot of snow here in Utah and a lot of cold, but he appreciated it and he was grateful for it because he doesn't get to have it all the time. So even though he was cold and sometimes was miserable through that, it does allow him to have gratitude. The third one is in relationships. What I can tell you is if you will focus on what you're grateful for, what they're good at, and spend time finding their positives and complimenting them on it, they will have a better day, and then you have a better day. If you will focus on thank you cards, a simple thank you card sent to someone. I mean, we call it snail mail now, but when was the last time you got a thank you card in the mail, which wasn't for a baby shower or a wedding where they felt obligated to send it to you, right? Just out of the blue, somebody thanked you and had gratitude for you. I got a card recently that said, I am grateful that you are in my life because my life has changed so much in the last 90 days that my marriage is saved, and went on and on and on. Do you know how that made me feel? Not that I wanted the pat on the back, but to have someone be grateful for what I'd taught them, how I'd served them, and that they were grateful for their relationships. So find thank you cards. It doesn't have to be a card. It can be, in fact, I went to a funeral today, and it was someone who was 52, I believe, 53 maybe, and suddenly passed away, just total shock. Wonderful, wonderful man. He left notes everywhere. They had on display paper plates that he had written, and when his daughter turned 21, he had written this note to her, and he had written all the way around the plate and all the way to the end, and he said, this was actually a great idea because you've come full circle, you're an adult, and I'm so proud of you. How awesome is that? 7 years ago, he wrote on a paper plate, she kept it, and today it was on display. Okay, there were napkins, notes on everything of how he loved others and how much he loved you, so that people know you're grateful for them. So with your relationships, put a silly note on their pillow. I've done lipstick on the mirror. You're amazing. I've been married almost 30 years. I still do little notes and little messages because it's fun. Stick it to the steering wheel. Let them find it when they leave the house. I did one year on a birthday, I did not such nice notes as my husband left down, and did, Lordy, Lordy, guess who's 40, all the way down the road as you left our canyon. There's only one way out. So he left and he got to see all these notes. And the last one said, I am so grateful for you. Happy birthday. You make my life fantastic. That's the one he liked. After he left, I, of course, took down one that said, it's my birthday, call me, and left his cell phone number. But people all day long told him what a great guy he was. It was fantastic. And it was a dumb, poster at the bus stop. So do little things to create that abundance, that happiness. An abundance of love is abundance. And it's worth it. From one of my favorites that has a lot of quotes is Oprah Winfrey. And I'm sure that you've heard this in the past, but her quote goes like this. What you focus on expands, and when you focus on the goodness in your life, you create more of it. Opportunities, relationships, even money flowed my way when I learned to be grateful no matter what happened in my life. And she's a great example of that. No matter what happened in Oprah's life, she was happy, grateful. She did a lot of notes and little things that we would see. And it doesn't have to be something that's on TV and everybody finds out about it. It can be little, it can be subtle, it can be small things. It can be a memo that you send in an email. Snail mail works good though. Don't forget snail mail. People love to get cards. People love to get thank yous. And it's something that's becoming a past. And yet it is something that really can show our gratitude. I want you to focus with your relationships. Focus on the positives, not the negatives. They don't need a note of saying you don't know how to pick up your clothes. They know that. You don't shut the cupboard, right? Focus on the positives. Focus on why you fell in love with them in the first place. Why is that person your best friend? You've had a girlfriend for years, since you were in elementary school. Why are you still friends? Because you have gratitude. You're grateful for them. You compliment them. right? So continue that effort. Those 3 areas will change a lot of things. Gratitude is the key to abundance. You'll hear it over and over and over in my stuff and in other people's stuff. It's not something I created alone. Okay? It's something that I know works. The more gratitude we have, the more happiness we spread and the more we feel back. What goes out comes back, and the happier you can be, the more gratitude you can have for your life, the more you will get back. So there's 3 ways that I've told you to just instantly in the next week, you could have a completely different week. If you're someone who is spiritual and you use prayer, hello, you could tell the big guy upstairs, thank you. That was one thing that I wanted to say a prayer. I wanted to have my connection with my higher power and not ask for anything. Just be grateful. Try it. It's harder than you think, but it's fantastic. And it can help and bless your life. So I have another quote that is by Hal Elrod. And I don't know this person, but I found this, of course, on social media. Gratitude and complaining cannot coexist simultaneously. You must choose the one that best serves you. That's right. If you're complaining, you're not having gratitude. If you're standing there complaining about what's going on, gratitude has left the building. And so has the abundance, so has the energy of gratitude, and complaining is what you're doing. And what I can tell you is 99% of the people don't want to complain. They don't want to hear it. They would rather put nails on a chalkboard than listen to us complain. So if you want a lot of people around you, you want relationships that work, be grateful. I want to talk to you a little bit about 2 different kinds of gratitude. And the first, before I go into that, I want to just mention one other statement from this. Attitudes are contagious. And I, again, use a lot, have an attitude of gratitude, because what our attitude is what we put out there. Even on the phone, when we aren't face to face, people get what we're saying, how we're saying it, what's happening. So have an attitude of gratitude. But also know that, is your attitude contagious? Yes, our attitude is contagious. So pay attention to your attitude, and does anyone want to catch yours? Is it worth catching that contagious attitude that you have? Do people come to you and are attracted to you, or are people repelled? Okay, we talked about, not today, but we talked in another episode about the life of the party. Walks in and they're all happy and everything's great. And then you find out, oh, they just lost their house last week and they were in a car accident and they had all these things happening. And you had no idea, because they're grateful for what they do have. I want to give you a couple of experiences, and these are really, really new and fresh to my heart. You've seen me move around a lot today, and that's because I had foot surgery and I'm not supposed to be standing on my foot. So I had surgery a week ago. But what I want to tell you about is the weeks prior to that. I went to my family care doctor, and it took a lot to get me to go. We've had a lot of medical, a lot of the hospitals, a lot of challenges, and so I have to be pretty sick before I would even think of going to the doctor, because I've gotten pretty smart, can handle a lot of things, and I like a lot of natural remedies. I don't take a lot of medications, if any. And so I had just taken my time and not necessarily run to the doctor for the first thing. So when I went, I had a list of a few things that were going on, but the top of my list was that I was completely covered in hives, which at the time they didn't know whether it was a strep rash, shingles, which had been going around our neighborhood, or exactly what this was. So I went to my doctor, And we did a few tests, but mostly he just looked at it and he goes, oh, it's got to be from an infection, which I'd been sick. I'd had kind of that cold and a lung thing going on, didn't go to the doctor, thought it was a virus. So he's like, I'm sure it's from infection. So, I'm going to give you a prescription and you need to go on this to get rid of the hives. Well, it was a steroid, and I was pretty set against that. And so I wanted him to, be more careful with it. And he was just like, just go on it. It'll be gone today, la, la, la. Finally, I said, okay, I've got to get rid of these hives. I had been itching so bad for days and had so much to do that I couldn't keep doing this. So I went, filled the prescription. Sure enough, I told him I would gain weight, 12 pounds in 2 days, and continued to gain. Now, that is not something that women like at Christmas time, especially not me. And I was exactly like I said, I will gain weight, it won't work. And I've never felt like that was a good steroid to be on in the first place. So I called the doctor's office, told him it wasn't working, told him I gained weight. He didn't get back to me, but what he had done was refer me for another problem, which was my foot, to another specialist. So within a few days, I was in for foot surgery. I had a lot of problems, and obviously now I'm, can't drive for 3 or 4 weeks. I've got some stuff going on, and I've got lots and lots of stitches in my foot. Now, I knew that the breakdown was happening in my foot. I knew it was something we had to take care of, but at that point, it had dislocated my toes, and I couldn't hardly walk, and I, of course, couldn't wear my shoes, which I am grateful for shoes and boots and, cute stuff. So I went to this foot specialist. Almost immediately, we had surgery. I did have to put it off for the holidays, so I waited till Christmas was over. I told him about this rash, told him what the doctor, my primary care, had done, and went through the issues a little bit. Well, he was like, okay, well, you'll get a little bit of antibiotics during surgery and stuff. We'll see. I get home, wasn't breathing very good, having issues, now running a fever, now running chills, had called the family care doctor, had now called back. And I was, of course, gone to the hospital and stuff. I did go and do a follow-up with the doctor on the foot. And he's like, I think we need to go ahead and put you on an antibiotic, because if this was from an infection, which the hives were back and worse, and I was off the steroid, and anyway, lots of details. But it would have been very easy to be angry at a doctor that did not do his part. He did not do blood work. He did not follow through. He did not listen to the things that were wrong. He took one look, said, oh, well, I'm sure this is what it is. 2 weeks later, it's still there? Right. But I could be angry. I could be upset. Will that serve me? No. But I choose to be grateful that I went to that doctor, because he sent me to a fabulous foot surgeon that has taken care of 4 or 5 problems in my foot. I now am hive-free and on antibiotics, doing much better. I choose to be grateful. When we have gratitude in our lives on a consistent basis, it is much easier when things are big to forgive, to let it go, and to be grateful for what they did get for you. I'm running out of time, so I can't share with you the other 2. One of them was about cancer, and when my son was 9 and went through his cancer, the oncologist ordered the wrong chemotherapy and a wrong dosage, which killed the muscles in his legs. He had basically chemotherapy poisoning. I could have sued. I could have been wealthy, and I wouldn't have lived in a trailer while we built our home after all the medical bills. But I chose to be in gratitude because that oncologist saved his life. My son that was 9 is now going to be turning 28 this month. Yeah, we've had our share of problems. Yes, he's had cancer again. But I choose to come from gratitude. Really quick, I want to tell you the difference between generic gratitude and genuine gratitude. Those 2 are so important. Generic gratitude is when you're grateful for your clothes. I'm grateful there's a roof over my head. I'm grateful to have my family. I'm grateful to have food on the table. Grateful to have a job, right? Generic gratitude. Gratitude when you're grateful for all those things around you. Genuine gratitude is taking it a step further. When you can be grateful for the lessons you're learning during those trials, those hard times, those 180 nights in the hospital in 11 months, that chemotherapy that killed his muscles in his legs gave me gratitude that he could walk again. That doctor who didn't do the right tests on me a couple weeks ago, but he did get me to the right doctor for my foot. Have gratitude. When you have gratitude and it's genuine, you're grateful for the lessons you're learning. You're grateful that you've been walking on a really sore foot for a while that's been breaking down, and now it's going to be fixed. It helps you to have genuine gratitude for everything in your life. Thank you for joining me today. This is our second part of our 6th series. Next time that you join me, next week, I will be interviewing, because it is the 3rd Thursday of the month, and my interview is with my fabulous husband. He is my business partner. He is my partner in life and the love of my life. And so Bill Barney will be our interview next week. He is an energy healer, and he does phenomenal things. He and I work together, and together we create fantastic results. So join us next week here on allthingspossible.tv, and don't forget to go to our website. You can get a hard copy of the 6 traits all at once. I share with you on these recordings and on our TV channel different stories, different experiences, and I reveal a lot about me. So obviously I just shared a huge story about my foot and my surgery today and why I can't stand still. So join us again right here at All Things Possible TV, and don't forget to check out our website at www.allthingspossible.biz. Again, www.allthingspossible.biz. Thank you so much for joining me. I am grateful for you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.